Hi guys, welcome to my insanity slash expert mode guide to TOA. So, a few people I know have been sort of struggling on the 300s. I think it's obviously some of that is gear issues as well. I would say you need a bit of DPS at this sort of level of raids, depending on what sort of setup you're running. Obviously, depends on your times as well. This is personally what I run for these 300 raids. You can sort of bring what you like. I know there's lots of different methods that are being used now. This is the sort of stuff I run. I don't use a BGS, I don't use a Warhammer. I personally don't see the need for it in my solo raids. I get raids anywhere from 7 minutes to 9 minutes using the setup I've got here, which I'm satisfied with on this sort of level. If you want to change the setup, feel free. I feel like you know what you're doing if you're looking at expert raids already, so do feel free to change it around, but this is what I go with. Onto the sort of inbox that I look at, I'm obviously going to be using Insanity down here, and I also use these three up here. I use Run for it for the 9.5 minutes, Deadly Prayer, so I take 20% prayer loss to damage taken, and also on a diet. I feel like you don't need really care about either of these. This is a free 50 points, this is a free 30 points. If you're getting a slow raid, you can change this around, you can swap this for something, but this is just what I sort of run for now. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into a raid. I'm just going to do a full run through and sort of just give you tips and tricks as I kind of go through. So I'm going to pre-pop my angler. I'm going to go in. Again, some people bring more brews, more prayer restores, kind of feel free what you want to do with that, but I like this for the sort of setup I've got going. So I'd pre-pop the salt. I'm going to throw that back in here, and then I'm going to get out a restore, a brew, and my adrenaline. I'm going to start the phase. I'm going to run over, I'm going to block. So bearing in mind, we're stacking on this on purpose, so we get two different timings on these, so we don't get absolutely screwed by both of these amble things spawning at the same time. I tank here until 99 HP, and then I take a step back and I actually let these split. I tend to find it still staggers well enough. You take less damage, allowing you to take both the balls in a minute a bit better. But I'm going to stand here because this is safe from this as well. And I'm just going to chill. So we're waiting now over to watch when this is going to happen. So that's about to spawn now. I'll move over here, and then we're just going to keep an eye on this for when that ball's coming. But we're going to move to the middle pillar when these different appear. Just do some more DPS. So now the only thing we're really going to be too concerned about sometimes is you might have taken more damage from these balls, which means the second ball from over here may do a bit more damage than you'd like. It hits 33 every time, as far as I'm aware, so as long as you're above 33 HP, you can essentially just sit and tank it, and standing here allows you to sort of carry on DPSing without moving for the next phase. We're going to keep an eye again. This is about to spawn yellows, because we know from the circle over here, we're going to move, and then we're just going to finish up the obelisk. Straight after that, obviously we're going to switch into our mage gear, and we're going to pop on some HP with our brews. I'm just going to chill a second. Now, I do this a little bit differently. Again, if you've done this raid the other way around, you're going to go to this corner over here instead, and you'll be using range, but I'm doing it this way, obviously. But I like to run to the corner. This makes you safe from the energy balls. They seem to fly around and only hit this area, so you seem to be quite safe. I would say I've been hit by them a few times stood in this corner, but in general, it tends to be a lot easier stood here. So this is a good example, actually. They're going to spawn now. You should see that I shouldn't get hit by these. I should be able to just chill in the corner and pretend they don't exist, which is kind of nice. It's also quite easy to deal with the other obelisk power-ups, as I'm sure you'll see soon. We can sort of use this line here to dodge them quite easily too. So this is where I prefer to stand. Just making sure we're getting our prayers right as well as we go through. So what we want to be watching for as well is what HP this guy's getting to. We need to be tick perfect going into this to make sure that we get enough damage to get to P3 and 2. That's sort of what we're looking to do here, to save our food, to get past the raids, and ultimately sort of push yourself to take things a bit harder. So that getting this tick perfect really makes a difference. So I can see he's on that now. I'm going to drop all my melee gear, I'm going to get that on, and I should get that pretty much bang on. I think I did. You'll know if you did it right, because when you get down to 40% spec, that last spec will either hit or it will get the XP drop and no damage. So you'll find out here. I got the hit, so we're all good. We're going to go back into this corner, and I'm just going to change into the range, and we're just going to repeat exactly what we've just done again. So for this bit here, I like to stand on this tile, and you can just move over one tile and come back. We're going to stand on this again, and we're just going to wait for it to come around. When it gets to this tile, we're just going to wait. It's going to come around, we'll step onto that one there. So you always can dodge it using these two tiles here. Similar little two-step using for the line one, but you just do a two-step to there when it gets to that tile. Nice and easy to dodge. Again, nice positive of the corner. It seems to simplify P2, if you ask me. So we're getting ready again. We can see its HP is close. That's the XP drop that's going to get me to its full HP. I'm not going to care about changing prayer because it won't deal damage because this is dead. We're just going to deal as much as we can to this. Drop the rest of our specs. Get ready to pull the rapier out. We'll finish this up. There should be 3 more hits here. And then we're going to prepare ourselves for P3. So change prayers, I like to put rigor on straight away so we're all good to go. I'm just going to switch into my range gear. I'm just going to slowly eat back up. We're going to get out the second salt here and the ambrosia. We're going to pop the salt and then we're going to get out of that brew quickly as well while we've got time. So this is where things speed up. They can get a little bit hectic, so we just need to make sure we keep on top of our stats so we know what's going on. So that way if you make any mistakes, you've got enough HP to fall back on. I see a lot of people trying to keep on doing DPS when you're low HP. You can see me here, I sort of am, but again, I've kind of got this experience here of this. If you're new to this, this is your first time trying to kind of go through this, I really recommend just not attacking, moving out of the way of these if you need to heal, and just healing up, because it's better to be alive than dealing more damage, to be honest with you. You can't deal damage if you're dead. So just bearing that in mind. So we're just going to move through all of this. So the difference here is I know that this is going to spawn here next time because that was where I should have been. That's where insanity changes from the normal ones. Normally you'd have to just start on that tile I have marked, but it's going to be here. So I struggle to remember this, but as long as you've kind of got the flow down of the run that he does, you can recover it at the start of each round quite nicely, to be honest with you. But again, just getting back into this flow. So what you're aiming is, if you're using a T-bow, you're aiming for 2 attacks per every 3 moves, really. If you're using blowpipe, obviously you can get more hits in. Obviously I'm using this sort of tactic for now. So again, I know this is going to be the tile I'm going to be safe on. At this point, we're going to watch our prayers. He's used mage, and now I will do this bit. I always watch to see what attack Zebak's going to use before I do that, just so I can avoid taking unnecessary damage. Again, we're looking to keep our HP high and not die, rather than deal DPS. Again, I've messed up here, but we're just going to get back into the flow, and that's all okay. So we're all like it never happened. So it's just trying to be able to just not panic, know where you are. I know that comes with experience as well, so that's something that's going to happen here. You're probably going to die as you go through, learn them a couple times. It's fast, it's punishing, and if you make mistakes, you can die very quickly here. So just bear that one in mind. It's nothing to be too angry about. It's just learning them. It's basically muscle memories, really. Again, I think the hardest part is getting back into the rhythm in between stages, but that can be easily negated if you just kind of get into the rhythm of knowing how this works, this sort of right, left, middle pattern. So now we've got Baba spawn, and we're going to again watch our prayer for what he's going to use now. We're going to switch to that, and we're going to be able to move out of Baba's drop quickly enough. And if you get this in quick enough, the second attack that he uses, you'll be able to still pray against it without having to worry about missing any of the skulls. Tick perfect. Again, I've got this wrong, but I know it's going to the right. We're just going to tank that Baba attack, and we're going to get back into the formation. And again, we're going to heal up nice and slowly. We're not going to worry about doing damage right now. We're just going to get our HP back up because that's what's more important here. And then we're going to get back into the flow of things. So that's what is important. It's all about just making sure you're staying alive and not worrying about how much damage you're dealing. It's not too important to the end of the kill as long as we're staying alive. So moving through the phase, we've got the final one in a minute of the skulls. They can be a little bit of a pain sometimes. Obviously it's a bit more hectic and there's more of them going on, but I tend to start on this side, run over here as quick as I can. Again, I know he's just used range. I'm probably going to get an attack here, but you do get the opportunity, if you're quick, to change prayer to dodge the phantom's move again, but it can just get a little bit tricky. I've forgotten where this is, but we're not going to panic. So he's moved that one, it's in the middle next. So it's just remembering how that pattern works, and you'll be fine even if you do forget these where he last was. So moving into the final stage of the fight, I actually will drop an ambrosia here just to get myself up to the maximum stats, and this is where it gets really hectic. So the main thing here we're looking is to take no damage, like as where possible. He says as he takes a 19, but we're just doing our prayer changes. We're going to move nice and slow. I like to just walk to one tile at a time. It hasn't got it on, and just hit if we can. That's all we'll do, nice and chilled. Back to the range prayer. Over here we've got some free spaces. I can see mages coming now. We're going to go back because that one just got used. I see that space is free. We're going to step, which is nice and casual. Back to that tile. Might take Babas, but that's fine. Okay, he's changed to range here. We're just going to change prayer. Step out of the way of these. It's just not panicking. That's all we're trying not to do here. I can see mages coming again. Change to that. Back to there. I've taken a lot of damage. Well, Ambrosia. Remember, you have that. Preach the range, and there's the kill. That is how we sort of get our insanity runs done here. So that's an 825. It's not my quickest raid. It's also not my slowest, but that's the sort of range that we're looking at for it. Everyone's sort of unique in the way that obviously they go about this, but I think this is a consistent way. I tend to find my raids are mostly the same every time. The only thing that differs is the damage that I deal on my RNG as I go through them. But best of luck, guys. I hope this has been helpful, and best of luck in getting all those purples as you go through. Thanks for watching.